Good evening from New Zealand. Lane Mendelson asked me if I would put together a video telling you folks a little bit about how I use VantagePoint to enhance my trading. First of all, I need to tell you that I trade three markets, and I trade them every day, 6 days a week. I trade futures, stocks, and options. Now that sounds simple enough. In fact, many of you probably trade at least two of those, and some probably trade all three. But I think you might agree that my situation is just a little bit unique after you hear about how I incorporate VantagePoint into my trading. As I mentioned, I trade futures, and my futures trading is with TradeStation automated strategies, and I've done so ever since TradeStation first was available on the market. Once I purchased VantagePoint, I modified all of my TradeStation strategies to trade only in the direction predicted by VantagePoint. For instance, here's the VP forecast for this coming Monday for the S&P E-mini. As you can see, everything's pointing up. The predicted high-low is up, the crossover looks promising, the neural net green indicator is good to go, and all three of the projected moving averages are pointing up. Looks like a winner on Monday. Based on this forecast, I'll set a parameter of my robots to trade long positions only and avoid buying at the high end of the predicted range. Now, I trade stocks and options manually, not using robots, and I trade those markets with interactive brokers and some with eToro. Since I'm sleeping during the U.S. market trading, I have to enter all of my trades before the markets open, and this creates problems in its own right. First, I use other software to scan for the best performing stocks in the best performing industries within the best performing sectors. In other words, my stock and option trading is based somewhat on sector rotation. Once I have my list of these best and worst performing stocks, I look up each of those stocks in VantagePoint to see the direction that VP thinks those stocks will move over the next few days. If I find agreement between VP and my sector rotation software, I'll then buy or short the stocks accordingly. One of the stocks that pops up on my sector rotation buy list for Monday is ATI. I have no idea what they do, but at least both of my software tools that I use suggest that I should be buying it. So I look up ATI, as I said, in the VantagePoint, and I get a definite confirmation for me to go ahead and buy. Now here are the critical bits of the chart from VantagePoint for ATI. Again, just like with the E-mini, everything's pointing up. The predicted high-low range is up. The crossover looks promising. The neural net indicator is green and good to go. And all three of the projected moving averages are pointing up. So armed with the buy signal coming from my sector rotation software and the confirmation I got from VantagePoint, I'll buy the stock and or sell put options with a close expiration date. Next, I run my option scanning software to find options that meet my criteria. My criteria includes avoidance of earnings dates, obviously, predictability of profit, minimum volume, etc. I then look up each of those stocks in VantagePoint, and if the AI direction indicated by VP agrees with the direction of the option scanner, I purchase the credit spreads and or iron condors. Now here's the critical bits of information from the VantagePoint chart for WPM, one of the stocks recommended by my option scanning software. Now these, unlike the E-mini projections, are all pointing down. The high-low range is down. The neural net is red, indicating down, and all three of the projected moving averages are down. So based on this information, plus the recommendation from my option scanner, I'll buy bear call spreads on Monday, as well as shorting WPM. I may also put on some iron condors. By the way, I'm not suggesting you do any of these trades. When you watch this video, it could be months from now and quite meaningless. You won't know which Monday I'm talking about. So no way am I recommending that you buy or sell anything, just using these as examples. So once I get the next update from VantagePoint, I close any positions where VP's direction is pointing in the opposite direction from the positions I've taken. I have no clue, as I said earlier, what 90% of the businesses do, and I really don't care. I've been using computers to trade the markets for 55 years, and that's not a mistake, by the way, 55 years. My first computer I purchased belonged to my employer. He was trading it in. I paid $100,000 for it, and it's bigger than my SUV, and a fraction of the power that in my cell phone today. And once I purchased VantagePoint, I felt like I had the last piece of the puzzle. So in spite of trading for 55 years, there's always room to learn, and VantagePoint did provide me the missing bit. So I'm happy to discuss my trading strategy with anyone who's interested. You can reach me at the email address below. All the best and good trading.